Hello, 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 and welcome to the first of a new video series called Morrowind Modding Highlights, where we take just a brief look, and a very brief look at that, at some of the major mod releases that were released each week or month. But these aren't detailed, showcases. Instead, we'll be spending, ideally, no more than a minute, pointing out some of the more notable mods that have just been released recently. Just to give you an idea of some of the mods that you might want to check out here. We'll of course be doing, for the most part, more detailed showcases of these mods at some point in the future. But the goal here is just to provide you with a quick, easily digestible video with a bunch of mod recommendations to, whet your curiosity. And to start off with, we'll be taking a look back to the first week of the 2020 Morrowind May Marathon Month modding competition, which saw the release of 49 new mods, and we'll just be highlighting the top 10 of those mods here today. You'll find a list of links down below, so let's just get started with Let There Be Darkness, Lua Lighting Overhaul by RedFurryDemon, OperatorJack, Merlord, Greatness 7, and PetetheGoat. And this is, quite frankly, the most advanced and customizable lighting mod available for Morrowind today, using MWC Lua to just allow for automatic and custom changes to, lighting on the fly, including for individual cells and editing of light objects. To just briefly go over some of the features here, interior cell lighting can automatically be adjusted to settings such as true lights and darkness, or a particular interior cell can be blacklisted from receiving these automated adjustments. This mod also allows for the customized, scaling of light radius for various light sources, and can even remove light flickering for light sources if you so desire. And like most MWC Lua mods, this includes a fairly advanced mod config menu, where you can change just all settings on the fly here, making it by far the most feature-complete lighting mod currently available for Morrowind. But of course, it won't work with OpenMW. But just quickly moving on, another highlight here is Resdayn Revival, Bitter Coast by the Resdayn Revival team, and Zobator. One of the biggest content mod releases from the 2020 marathon, this ambitious mod is actually a cleaned up, translated, and mostly finished version of a Russian beta that was abandoned back in 2013, really before a public release could, be made for it. This polished up, mod here includes a massive overhaul of the Bitter Coast, with expansions to Sidanin, Laod, and Gnar Mok, increasing each town with just a number of new buildings, markets, and shipyards. In addition, this mod expands a number of the vanilla dungeons in the region, adds some new dungeons and outposts for you to fight through, and also adds new weapons and armor, and even a few quests for you to do, though we don't have time to, showcase all that. We'll have a longer video showcase of this mod up sometime in the future, as there's just far too much content here for a 60 to 90 second review. But needless to say, this is a pretty impressive mod that will more than likely satisfy the cravings of those looking for just some new content to play through. Next, we're highlighting Assetless No Glow by NullCascade, the latest in the popular No Glow mods. Assetless No Glow is just another MWC Lua mod that removes the enchanted glowing, or as some people call it, the plastic wrap effect from just being created here, saving a bit of FPS caused by the creation of invisible texture effects on enchanted items. Hardly the flashiest mod from this year's marathon, and indeed it does the exact opposite of Flash. It's nonetheless one of the best no-glow options available for Morrowind, with automatic compatibility with other mods, and because it is MWC Lua, it doesn't even have a .esp file. A godsend for those looking to save, both on FPS and, just make a bit more room for just other mods here. Our next highlight, though, is inom. Main menu replaces HD and 4K by isNaN. This mod is, particularly noteworthy as being one of the only animated main menu replaces from Morrowind, and out of those, one of the only ones to offer both HD and 4K options, with 7 different video backgrounds for you to choose from, ranging from Balmora to Telvos. Each of these menu replaces is a 20-second video from just, somewhere in-game. That'll just loop in the background, providing a scenic and ideally just atmospheric backdrop while you choose a save game or, prowl through various menu options here. And this is just a fine addition for those wanting a more scenic main menu to, start the game with. But moving on, we have Miscast Enhanced by OperatorJack as our next highlight here. Based on the original Miscast mod from Magis and Huskarbar, Miscast Enhanced is a mod that adds consequences to failing to cast a spell, which could potentially be rather comedic or rather deadly, just depending on the power level of the spell and just how far it is beyond your current skill level. Failing to cast Mark and Recall, for example, could cause you to end up in a random location just somewhere in the game world, or failing to cast Levitate could cause you to float up into the sky like a balloon. Every magic effect in the vanilla game is covered with a variety of different possible consequences for, failing to cast a spell, utilizing MWC Lua and Magicka Expanded. And while we can't do a detailed showcase here, you'll find a link to a video done by Lucifer that shows off the mod in just, a bit more detail down below. Going with a rather different mod now, we're going to feature, just briefly, Legion at the Siege of Firemoth by Endorian. As the name suggests, this is an update to the original Bethesda DLC, Siege of Firemoth, changing the questline to now only be available to members of the Imperial Legion, and replacing the original mercenaries that you could take with you on, the quest to reclaim Fort Firemoth, with proper legionaries, since it is, after all, an Imperial Legion fort and a quest offered by representatives of the Empire. There's also been some changes made to the fort interior, and the difficulty of the boss fight has been made just a bit easier. The author has some additional plans for this mod, but for now, it offers a more just immersive experience for those looking to fight their way through Fort Firemoth. Our next highlight features Naked and Alone by PetetheGoat and Lucifer. This mod overhauls the Divine and Almisi intervention system in Morrowind, one of just many recent mods over the past couple of years to do so, making it less profitable to use an intervention for transporting goods across Morrowind. And now, when you cast intervention, your entire inventory will just, be dropped at the spot that you cast intervention from, meaning that you'll return to civilization just completely naked and without a septum to call your own. And you'll have to travel back to wherever you cast the spell to retrieve your items. And, without question, this makes the game just quite a bit harder, and perhaps a bit more just time-consuming for looters. But it's a rather immersive just little addition, and, makes it so that intervention is just truly a cause of last resort. Next, we're taking a brief look at Creeping Blight by Necrolegion. This is a mod that makes just quite a few changes to the weather system in Morrowind, and specifically with the chances for certain types of weather in certain regions. But one of the really big takeaways, and one of the primary features here, is the addition of ash storms to every region of Morrowind, with a between 5% and 30% probability. There's also the addition of a possibility of just about every type of weather to every region of Morrowind, since some types of weather previously weren't included for some parts of the game. But as the name here implies, the big element of this mod is the creeping just likelihood of blight storms across all Vardenfell as you progress through the main quest, with blight storms just becoming increasingly common regardless of region. There's even an option to have this based on elapsed time rather than, progress in the main quest, and to add a sense of urgency to the game. But moving on to our next highlight, we have Esroniet replace Wickwheat by Shadow Mimicry. As the name here suggests, this is a replacer for Wickwheat, including both the plant container and the ingredient, replacing both with new high-resolution and detailed models and textures. This is a rather just a major improvement over the vanilla Wickwheat models, which were a bit, flat and dated. But keep in mind, with this high-quality replacer, you might notice a slight performance impact, especially just in areas with, quite a bit of Wickwheat. That said, this is a pretty nice visual treat for graphical enthusiasts, and, definitely one to check out. And finally, last but not least, our last highlight here is Esroniet by Grumbling Vomit. This mod adds a new island to the game, just, based on lore. And this is a fairly large landmass mod, one of the bigger content mods from this year's modathon. So we can only, show a brief glimpse of everything that you'll find here. But right now, this island includes new towns and settlements, a vast forested wilderness, and hilltop vistas for you to discover. This is, I believe, Grumbling Vomit's first mod, so, it's a little rough around the edges, but no less impressive for a first-time modder, and there's certainly just, plenty of potential here for the future. But, well, that's all of our highlights for the first week of May. We'll be back in another week with another batch of highlights for you to check out here. So until then, links are below. Thanks for watching, and just, stay safe.